my friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for some of you. How are you today? I'm very, very excited to be here. Welcome to the Unstoppable Confidence for an Unstoppable Life Masterclass. Today, I'm your trainer. My name is Netalina Nasruddin. If you haven't met me already, I think most of you know who I am, though, when I look in the chat and I see who's in this room. If you're just joining us, go ahead and tell us who you are and where you're coming from. We have an amazing community throughout the world, so we always like to see, who shows up, who's representing. I think for the most part, we're North America today, which is nice. Saw you at InvestorCon last month. I love it. Thank you so much for joining out. We have a community from all over the world. Some of you are here, from our social media. Some of you are here because we trained with you in your company. Some of you are here because you saw me do a keynote on stage. But whatever way you got here, we are super grateful. We are very, very excited to have you here. Again, my name is Netalina Nasruddin. I'm the CEO and I'm the founder of Rise Up For You. And I'm going to be your trainer today as we talk about unstoppable confidence for an unstoppable life. How many of us want unstoppable confidence for an unstoppable life? Just put it in the chat. Okay, just put it in the chat and let me know. You can just raise your hand. You could put a little hand emoji, whatever. Yep, I see all the hands raised. I love it. So today is all about you. Okay, so before we jump in, I want to set you up for success. Here's a couple things. Okay, number one, you need to have your phone handy. I know you're probably thinking, Netta, why do we need the phone? I want you to have your phone handy because we're going to do some interactive activities and it's going to take your phone. We need your phone for engagement. Okay, so have that right next to you, but I don't want you to use it until we're doing our activities and engagement. Okay. Number two, you're going to want to make sure that you have a pen and a pencil or a notepad next to you because I'm going to drop a lot of golden nuggets for you today. Okay. The next 45 minutes, I'm going to share with you how to build unstoppable confidence, or I should say rebuild unstoppable confidence for an unstoppable life so that you can build a life that you are proud of, not only in your career, because that's just one piece, but in your personal life, in your relationships, in your fulfillment, in your overall well-being as a person. I'm going to share with you how to do that today. I'm going to be giving you 3 strategies and 3 steps that are going to help you jumpstart rebuilding that confidence and really understand, where does confidence come from, right? How come so many of us struggle with it, right? I'm going to share with you lots of research, lots of statistics today. But here's the thing. I want you to stay all the way to the end, okay? Because there's a lot of really, really amazing content all the way to the end. It's not one of the webinars where I do the front end heavy and then no. The whole entire 40 minutes is going to be educational and empowering. And also I have a very, very special offer for you at the end that I'm only going to provide here, okay? So you're going to want to stay fully to the end. So let's jump in. Unstoppable confidence. So for those of you that know me, that have seen me before, my name is Netalina Nasruddin. I'm the CEO and I'm the founder of Rise Up For You, but I didn't always start that way, okay? So some of you may know that actually my first career was as a performer, and I used to sing all the time, every single day. And funny enough, every time I walked into a room as a performer, I always got the center stage spot. Now, if you know anything about performing, you know that center stage, right? We call it the Diva Spotlight. That's the place that you want to be. It's the most important spot on the stage. But here's what's very, very, very important for you to know. I was never, ever the best singer. So what I mean by that is my technical skill as a singer, it was good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the best. There was always 3 or 4 individuals in that room that could sing me out of the water. They had a 3-octave range. I had a 2-octave range. They had parents that were celebrities, and I just sang in my garage growing up, right? But I always got that center stage spot. And people used to come up to me and they used to say, Netta, how do I get that spot? And I used to say, everything you need is already inside of you. The only difference between you and I is that when I walk into a room, I actually believe it. When I walk into a room, I believe that I deserve to stand in that middle stage spot. Now, fast forward, okay, listen to this. Fast forward about 7 years, I put up the microphone, you put away my tap shoes, and I become an executive of an education corporation. And I saw the very same thing happening in the education corporate sector. Men and women that had PhDs, master's degrees, bachelors, all the certifications in the world, you name it. They had all the technical skill in the world, you name it. They were getting in the way of their own success. They were self-sabotaging. They were struggling with imposter syndrome. They were struggling with the perfectionist mindset. And let's be real here. When we struggle with that as an individual, not only do we impact our life and our surroundings in our life, but we also impact the organizations that we work with and that we work for. So then their leadership struggled, their communication struggled, and all the things that we need to build a thriving and fulfilling life were below mediocre. And I just could not understand why all of these individuals had everything they needed. And yet, this is what was happening in the workplace as individual contributors that were stepping in. Now, fast forward it another 5-6 years, and I build my own company, right? So you know that I built Rise Up For You from scratch, and I see the same thing happening today. My team and I work with organizations and we work with individuals and entrepreneurs around the world. And the number one challenge for people is not that they don't have enough skill. It's not that their knowledge isn't strong enough. It's what's happening up here that's getting in the way of the behaviors. It's the beliefs, the self-confidence that are getting in the way of the behaviors to be the best leader that you can, to build the business that you want, to be the entrepreneur that you want to be an amazing leader and to make an impact in the world. Now, my team and I, we asked thousands of people, and by the way, every year we ask thousands of professionals that are actively working what their number one challenge is. 83% said self-confidence, 83%. Now, some of you have seen me on stage, right? And I saw in the chat, some of you have seen me do a keynote, and you know we do this live in the room. When I do a keynote, we assess everyone's confidence, which we're going to do a little bit later, by the way, which is why I want you to stay, okay? And you see in the room, when I ask people what their confidence score is, it's very, very apparent. I can count on one hand how many people have a high sense of self-confidence. But it's not your fault, because our entire life, I don't care what country you're from or where you're born. I've traveled the world talking about this. I see it in the same place all the time. Doesn't matter. Our entire life, we've been taught to build what I call micro level confidence. And I talk about it in my book. Okay. Micro level confidence is we have been taught as individuals to build confidence in categories, competencies, or things. Okay. I'm going to say that again. We've been taught to build micro level confidence in categories, competencies, or things. Okay. So I'm confident as a speaker. I'm confident when it comes to coding. I'm confident when it comes to selling. I'm confident when it comes to singing, riding a skateboard, whatever it is. The problem with that micro level confidence is that micro level confidence exists outside of you. And anything that exists outside of you inevitably can and will change. And this is what we saw with the pandemic. People from around the world that were confident in micro competencies, they were confident in their job, they had a leadership title, they were confident in their business skills, they were running a booming business. COVID came and wiped all of that away. And people from around the world came to us and said, who am I? What's my identity? What's my self-worth? What do I bring to the table? Because this whole entire time, what we needed to be building instead of micro level confidence was macro level confidence. Macro level confidence is an inner belief that you can learn. Macro level confidence is an inner belief that you are enough simply because you exist. Macro level confidence is a belief in yourself and a belief that you are worthy, period. Not because of anything outside of you that makes you better, but because internally you believe that you are worthy. Macro level confidence says the perfectionist mindset prevents me from reaching my potential. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The perfectionist mindset prevents me from reaching my potential. Macro level confidence says, even if I fail, it's okay because that's not my identity, right? Even if I fail and I make a mistake, that doesn't define who I am. In fact, failure is research to success. Think about scientists. They spend their entire life failing, right? Maybe if a scientist is lucky, they'll find a solution, they'll find the right algorithm, whatever it is, and then they make it. But most scientists spend their whole life failing, but they don't see it as failing. No, no, no. They see it as research. They see it as research as to what's not working, and then they keep trying and they keep succeeding. So what we want here is a macro level confidence. And 83% of us struggle with the true macro self-confidence. And we spend our entire life chasing and building micro level confidence. We spend our entire life building micro level confidence. But I'm going to tell you now, if you only have micro level confidence, when those things start to shift and change, which they will, and they're continuing to change, look at artificial intelligence. They just released an article that over 30 million jobs in the next 5 years are going to be kiboshed. If you are dependent on these micro level confidence, it's going to be very hard for you to be resilient and competitive and to continue to thrive in life. But if you build macro level confidence and you have that as your foundation, you will always have the mindset and the inner belief to build more micro level confidence. Okay. Macro builds micro. Very, very important to understand. Now, I know some of you, again, have seen me before. You see me here. I'm the owner of the company, right? I have this house. I'm so grateful for it. But 5 years ago, I didn't run my own business, right? 5, 7 years ago, I didn't even know who Tony Robbins was, right? Okay. 5, 6 years ago, I was an executive and I decided to resign from the company. I moved out of the country for an opportunity for love. And within 4 weeks, I lost everything. I was a high functioning executive with a house on the lake, boats, well, you name it, luxury car. And 4 weeks later, I was back on a plane from out of the country, back to California with just 2 luggage and $100. That's it. I lost everything overnight. And I remember being on the plane and my father came to me in my dream. My father had passed away a few years beforehand. And he said, Neda, everything you need is already inside of you. You just have to rise up for you. That's the name of the company. Rise up for you. So I said, okay. I came back to California and I just started building Rise Up For You. I had no idea what I was building. I just knew that I was going to build a company and I was going to empower and educate people around the world to tap into their potential and build the skills that are needed today. I don't have a business degree. I've never been an entrepreneur. I didn't have any of those micro skills. Okay. Remember those micro skills. 3 months after I started building my company, my second parent, my mother, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. By the time I was 31, I lost both of my parents and I had $100 in my account and I was trying to build a business from scratch. But because I had the macro level confidence, and I thank God every day, and I thank my parents every day, that I had the macro level confidence, I believed and I bet on me to learn new skills so that I can rebuild the next chapter of my life. And 5 years later, we're all over the world with our programming. I have an awesome team throughout North America. My face was on a billboard in Times Square a few months ago. I'm a #1 best-selling author and a 2-time TEDx speaker. And all of that was simply because the macro level confidence, not because I didn't struggle, not because I had things handed to me. In fact, it was the opposite. Right? So now I want you to ask yourself, what would your life look like if you had just a little bit more of that macro level confidence? Okay, we're going to do an activity here. Just a little bit more of that macro level confidence. So here's what we're going to do. Grab that phone. Remember, I told you that we're going to use the phone. You're going to go on your phone to menti.com. Okay, see this URL here, menti.com. And you're going to enter this code, 47470477. Okay, 47470477. And you're going to do this first activity, and we're going to look at it together. Okay, so what would life look like for you if you had a little bit more self-confidence? I want you to go to menti.com, type in that code, and you're going to answer straight on that platform. Okay, and we're going to look at it together. What would life look like if you had just a little bit more self-confidence? For example, I'd be able to climb the career ladder faster. I would make more money. I would have healthier relationships. Perfect. So now if you look at my screen, we can see what all of you amazing individuals are putting. Okay. Take more risk. I'd step into my spotlight. I would have less stress. I would climb the career ladder, make more money, more opportunities, success, peace, healthier relationships. Absolutely. What else? Climb the career ladder, better life, better relationships. Thank you for sharing, by the way. This is a safe space, right? So I love it when everyone shares because it's important. Be more financially stable. Absolutely. More financial stability, less stress, higher up on my career path, take more chances, own my space better. I love that, right? Own my power and my space better. Absolutely. More love, promotion, respect, money, security, be a better leader, less anxiety, promotion at work, career satisfaction, start my own business, be happier, less stress, coach better, better relationships, better communication, help friends and family. I would have more discipline, better bound. Oh, I love how transparent you are all, because you all are, because this is absolutely what we are seeing, right? And it doesn't have to be this way, because when you build the skill of self-confidence, which is absolutely something you can build, which is why I'm on here, which is why we exist, right? These things you can build, all of these things that you're putting here, all of these dreams and all of these visions, better boundaries, right? And not have shiny object syndrome anymore. I'd be able to make more money. All of these things absolutely can happen for you. And, that's part of the reason why I share my story. It's not for you to take on my emotion, right? Shake it off. If it hits you, shake it off. But it's for you to see that you don't need to be at the top of your game in order to build this, in order to build a life that you're proud of, right? At $100, broken heart, lost 2 amazing parents at a young age. And I still did it simply because of the macro level confidence, right? And that's what I want you to understand. And if you can learn how to build that, which I'm going to teach you today, I'm going to teach you a little bit today. Can't teach you all of it in, 30 minutes, but I'm going to teach you a little bit. You will see your whole life change, your whole life change. Okay. So what does this look like? Let's jump in. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Before I share with you 3 strategies, I want you to take your confidence test, okay? Your little confidence score. Here's the thing. I want you to do this with self-compassion. This isn't about getting 100% or 90% or 80%. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, most of you are not, okay? Because again, we're asking thousands of people constantly, and we know what the patterns are. So you're going to scan this code with your phone. We need that phone again, okay? Scan the code with your phone, and you're going to take this assessment all the way through. It's 2 minutes. That's it. And when you get to the end, it's going to give you your confidence score. So you're going to score yourself 1 through 10, 10 being amazing, 1 being danger zone, non-existent. Some of you have done this before. That's okay. Do it again, because it's been a month. It's been 2 months, right? It might have changed since then. But I want you to do this with self-compassion, meaning it's not about the score that you have now, okay? It's about where can we take that score in the next 2 to 3 months. So 1 through 10, okay? Number 1, self-talk, okay? Number 1, self-talk. So that is self-talk. And if you can't scan it, then you can do it on your piece of paper, okay? 1 through 10, self-talk is the stuff that's in your mind. That's the monkey chatter. Are you your number 1 cheerleader? Okay. Or are you your number 1 enemy? Are you constantly putting yourself down, or are you constantly lifting yourself up? 1 through 10. Number 2, trusting your intuition. Okay. That feeling that you have in your stomach that says, I shouldn't do that. No, not a good idea. Do you listen to it or do you ignore it? 1 through 10. Number 3, taking risk. Taking risk. I'm not talking about jumping out of a plane. I'm talking about taking risk can be having uncomfortable conversations that feel risky, right? I'm talking about expressing yourself and trying to push your potential out of your comfort zone, even though it feels scary, right? That's taking risk. And I would say that's realistically taking risk, right? Sometimes when we think about taking risk, we think about jumping out of a plane or investing millions of dollars in something, but taking risk can be so simple as to having a conversation with your leader or boss about how you're feeling and maybe wanting to climb the career ladder, whatever it is, 1 through 10. Number 4, self-promotion. The ability to step into a room, walk into your boss's office, walk into a room, it doesn't matter, and stand up and say who you are, what you bring to the table, and the accomplishments that you've been able to bring to a company or an organization, right? Now, notice earlier, I self-promoted. I was telling my story, but I self-promoted. Told you best-selling author, 2-time TEDx speaker, right? That's because I worked very hard for my accomplishments, and you have too. And sometimes you need to be able to self-promote for you so that you can get to the next step. Because I'll tell you right now, no one's going to do it for you the way you do it for you. Okay. And think about this. I'm going to give you a different perspective because I'm a business owner, right? And I was also a former executive. If I have 10 people on my team that are absolutely amazing, right? Let's say they all deserve a raise. But as a company, I'm not going to give 10 raises. Maybe I can't. Maybe we're not financially there, but there's 10 people that they deserve it. Now, out of those 10 people, let's say one person has the courage to come up to me and say, this is what I brought to the company. I'd like a pay raise. Guess what's going to happen? The likelihood that that individual is going to get it is going to be higher because they came and they asked. If I had the choice, I'd give everyone one. But financially, you don't always have that choice in the company. So usually it's the person that walks into the office that says, here's what I brought into the table, and here's what I need to see in my career growth and climbing the ladder. Food for thought. Number 5, setting boundaries. Okay, setting boundaries. So let me ask you this. How many of us have a hard time saying no? Right? How many of us have a hard time saying no? So setting boundaries, that doesn't mean that we're mean about it. That doesn't mean that we're denying opportunities. That means that we're able to understand when we're at capacity and when we just can't take anything else on for the greater good of you and the organization, right? Being able to say, thank you so much for thinking of me, but right now I'm at capacity and I have a lot of things that I need to put my energy and focus into so that they're successful. Please think about me next time, okay? And lastly, growth mindset, meaning that you believe in your ability to learn. Let me ask you right now, artificial intelligence is coming. If tomorrow your industry was completely disrupted, and you had to start over from scratch, do you believe in your ability to learn? That's the question. And that's what we should be teaching our professionals and our youth throughout the world. Are these skills here? Because guess what? In 10 years from now, all of our degrees might not matter. In 5 years from now, all the skills that we built might not matter. We're going to have to learn new skills. And if we don't have this, it's going to be very, very difficult. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back to Menti. Okay. Your coach should already be there. And I want you to now put in there. Okay. I want you to put what your confidence score is. Okay. So I want you to tell me, is it over 90%? Is it 80 to 89%? Is it 70? So by the time you're done with your confidence assessment, you should have got a last page that tells you what you are, right? Thank you so much for sharing. Yep, and as you can see, this is anonymous, right? So we're just seeing the results that are today in the room, okay? So those of us that are in the room today, this is what we're looking right now in real time, okay? Our confidence scores. Yep, fantastic. Okay, so I see 60 to 69, 50, yep, below 50, 80. And again, whatever you put is fine, it's perfect, okay? Ooh, look at that. It's the first time I've seen them all even. It's not about what your score is today, okay? It's about where we're going to take it when we're done with this masterclass in the next few months, okay? What can it be? Yep, keep going. I know we have a lot more people in this room than we have that I'm seeing results, so keep putting them in. Yep, absolutely. And again, self-compassion. The reason why I like looking at this, because sometimes we don't believe that, you know, everybody else struggles with self-confidence. We think we're the only ones. And now you're watching in real time. Okay, most people are, under the 60% mark, that's fine, right? Again, this isn't about what your score is. It's about where we can go, okay, in the next 2 to 3 months. So keep putting in your score, keep tallying it so that we can see it. But as you can see, we just have 2 people that have scored between 80 to 89%, right? And what did I tell you? And the rest of us as individuals typically fall under the 70%. The majority of people usually fall between the 60 to the 50% range, which is what we're seeing here, right? So the 69 to the 50% range, okay? So now the big question is, we're seeing these results, it's being aggregated. How do we rebuild confidence? And I always say rebuild, because all of you were born with confidence. We were all born with confidence, but nature versus nurture. The second you're born with confidence, your environment instantly impacts you. Some of us are born into cultures. Some of us are born into homes. Some of us are born with a set of parents that really impacted what we thought about ourselves. Some of us went to elementary school and to school, and the teachers impacted our confidence. Our friends impacted our confidence. But we're all born with confidence. But some of us are really lucky and we're born into an environment where we continue to thrive with that confidence. And some of us are born into an environment, into a culture, into a society, into a school, you fill in the blanks, where it takes away some of our self-confidence, okay? And we're gonna rebuild that today. So let's break this down. 3 C's to becoming unstoppable. Some of you might have heard this before. Great. The best way to learn is through reiteration and retention, right? To keep repeating until it gets into your body, especially as a soft skill. I can talk about this skill all day, every day, and you can hear it all day, every day, and it's only going to serve you. It's not like 2 + 2 = 4, and you're like, yep, I got it. No, 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 no. The more you practice this, the more you hear it, the more that muscle, the soft skill muscle, is going to shift. And then you can use it in real time. And that's what we want. Okay. So let's jump in. Today, we're going to talk about crush, clarify, and commit. There's more steps to this. Okay. But I'm only going to give you 3 today. So number 1, crush limiting beliefs. We've talked about this before for some of us. We all were born with that confidence. And the second we're born, our belief system starts to become programmed. Okay. So our teachers, our parents, our culture, our society, all of those things start to impact our beliefs, okay? Now, many of us, we go through life and somebody will say, you can't do that. And then we believe it. And then another person says, who do you think you are? You're not good enough. And then we say, well, okay, maybe I'm not good enough. And then maybe a leader comes by and says, no, 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 you're not good enough to do this job. And then you say, okay, maybe I'm not qualified for this. And over time, we become 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. And every one of us, including me, by the way, have a big backpack of rocks that we're carrying. And in that bag is a bunch of rocks that are holding us down, that are weighing us down, that don't belong to you. They were projected onto you by other people that struggled with self-confidence. You see? Right? So coming from a lens of empathy, other people that struggled with self-confidence, other individuals that were trying to figure out what their worth is, your parents that had limiting beliefs and programming in their mind that passed it on to you. But we get to make the choice and decide whether or not we want to break the cycle, right? By saying, no, 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 no. Those beliefs don't belong to me. That's the belief that you gave to me. And for 15 years, I've been holding on to it. And it's been getting in the way of my relationships. It's been getting in the way of my career. It's been getting in the way of my ability to take action. It's been getting in the way of me being able to look in the mirror and say, I am proud of me. It's getting in the way in all the things and happiness and fulfillment and success that you want in your life. So here's what we're going to do. Take a screenshot of this or write this down. The 4 B's to believing and betting in you. I'm going to give you one strategy today. Number one, I just want you to write down what's one belief, just one belief that's currently getting in your way. Okay, so what's limiting you? What's one belief that is currently limiting you today? It could be, you're too old to start a business, which I hear all the time. It could be, why would anybody listen to me? I'm too young. I hear that all the time. It could be, I'm not a good leader because English is my second language and they don't respect me. I hear that quite often, actually. So what's the belief that's limiting you, whether it's in the workplace or in your personal life, that's getting in the way? Write it down. Number two, what's the backstory? Where does it come from? So remember, I told you that it comes from somewhere, right? Does it come from parents? Does it come from a teacher? Does it come from a past relationship? Does it come from, a past partner or someone you dated? But I want you to finite it down. I don't want you to just say my childhood. I want you to say, I remember this moment when I was in my garage and my sister came out. Like, I want you to try to finite it as much as possible, because not only are we getting to the trigger of the belief, but we're also building self-awareness, right? We're starting to exercise the self-awareness and the self-reflection of who we are today. Number three, what's the behavior that it's causing, right? Your beliefs drive your behaviors, period. I can tell you before you even open your mouth, your belief system, just by the way you behave, right? Do you look me in the eye? Do you shake my hand? Do you look at the floor? Do you go into a room and sit by yourself? Are you able to have a conversation? Are you expressive? Are you mean to people? Are you loving to people? I can tell just from the behaviors what you think about yourself. And lastly, how do we break it? That's the fourth B. Now that's different for everybody, right? I can't say here's how you break it, but here's what I can tell you. When you go through the first three B's, the belief, the backstory, the behavior, and you realize where it comes from, usually the breaking comes when you realize who that belief came from. And you figure, wow, Bobby Joe has been impacting me in my mind for the last 15 years, and it has gotten in the way of my job promotion. Oh no, I can't have that anymore. Boom, break, nope. And you keep repeating that thought. And soon enough, you're going to realize that you've been holding yourself back because of all these other people's opinions that no longer matter in your life. Okay, so that's the 4 B's. That's step number 1, crush limiting beliefs. Now we go on to number 2, clarify your values and your wants. We live in a world, and it breaks my heart when I say this. We live in a world full of people that don't know who they are and what they stand for anymore. People are struggling to get back to the core of who they are. They are struggling to understand their values. They are struggling to understand the basic morale and ethos that they have within them. People are walking around this world with no idea where they're going. Okay, and that's not healthy, because when you don't have clarity and when you don't have the courage to be clear, it crushes your confidence, because that means that you continue to live a life based off of what everybody else is doing. You never stop to really ask yourself, what fits me? What are my values? And then have the courage and the confidence to say, I'm going to stand by those values, even if other people don't like them. But I work with executives all the time, and I always ask them, if we were to take away your executive job, whatever, who are you? And I will tell you 100% of the time, my clients will look at me and they'll say, I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm a brother. I'm like, no. That's a title. That's a role. That's not who you are. Being a parent is a role. Being a leader is a role. Who are you? And they always come back to me and say, I need a week. I need a week to figure it out, because I can't tell you who I am. They can't tell me one thing about their character and who they are as a human being. Everything that they want to tell me is attached to a micro level confidence, right? I'm an executive. I'm a public speaker. No, That's not who you are. That's what you do. That's your role. Okay. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. What is it that you want in life? Not your friends, not your family. What do you want? And that includes your career. Okay. Remember, the person is the professional is the person. What do you want? Why do you want it? Get to the core, get to the inside. Why is it important for you to have? Because if there's not a strong emotional attachment to it, guess what? You're not going to stay in the game. I always say it's easy to start. Everyone has starting power, but I want to know if you have staying power. Okay. Everyone can start, but not everybody stays. And in order for you to stay, you have to have a strong connectivity to your why you're doing it. I'm very, very thankful today. Our business does very, very well. I'm very proud of where Rise Up For You has been. The first 2 years I was in the red. First 2 years I made zero money and I struggled financially when I first started building the company. But because I believed in what we were doing, I knew that I just had to stay in the game, And then guess what? COVID hit and the company quadrupled every year since then. But I stayed in the game because my why was strong enough. And lastly, how are you going to get there? What are the action steps? Okay. And I'll tell you right now, your how, you're going to achieve more success if your how is rooted in the people soft skills that we're talking about here: confidence, emotional intelligence, public speaking, energy, versus going out and getting more technical degrees. Okay. I always say, if you don't know what you stand for, read this with me. If you don't know what you stand for and who you are, you'll live a life of chasing, but never enough. That's what I always say. Chasing, but never enough. If you don't know who you are and what you stand for, you're constantly going to live a life of chasing, but you're never going to feel enough. Right? And we know this. We've seen people. We might even be this type of person where you chase. You get what you want and you're like, yeah, I got what I want. And then a week, 2 weeks later, you're like, bah, but I still don't feel enough. I still don't feel successful. And then you chase. And you get to the next step and you're like, yeah, I still don't feel good enough. I still don't feel like I add value to this world. Because you don't know what you want. So you keep chasing. And when you get to this destination of that chase, you realize that didn't fulfill you. And you still don't feel enough. And you still don't feel successful. No matter how much success you have built, it is never enough for you. Type in the chat if you resonate with that. Just give me an emoji. Give me a hand up. Give me a yes, whatever it is. No matter how much success you've built, you still don't feel like you have enough and that you are successful. I see all the hands raising. Yeah. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to go back to Menti. Okay. We're going back to Menti. What are your top 3 values? Okay. What are your top 3 values? And are you honoring them every day? So what are your top 3 values? I just want you to write them down. Okay. Remember, I don't want a micro level skill. I want, what are your top 3 values? Okay. If you only can figure one, that's fine. But I just want you to put what your values are. I want you to think about it. What are your values today? And I want you to put them in your Menti. And let's see what we have here as a room full of amazing individuals from around the world. Okay. What are your top 3 values? I can tell you right now some of my values, right? And I always recommend you don't want to have 20 values, right? 3 to 5 values are good. I can tell you right now, one of my top values is God. Yep. Faith there. Boom. I love that. Faith, right? Health is the value for me. Okay. Self-love is a value for me. Integrity, family. Those are my values. Notice how I didn't say career, right? Notice how I didn't say like entrepreneurship or building a company, right? Because I can, again, micro, I could build that stuff, right? I could always rebuild, right? But my faith in God, nobody can take that away. That's not a micro level skill. My self-love, right? We got to build that inside. Okay. So I love what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing, and by the way, for those of you, if you haven't seen like a word cloud before, the words that are larger are the ones that are being used most often. Okay. So family, integrity, and health. Those are the top 3 values in this group of people right now. Pretty cool. Okay. Relationships, lifelong learning, empathy, honesty, trust, passion, self-love. I love it. Growth mindset, approval. Okay. What does approval mean? Okay, top 3 values. Be the good I want to see. Yes, character, respect, beautiful. So now here's what I want you to think about. As you're putting these values in here, okay, now think of this is the big question. As you're putting these values in here, and keep putting them in as I talk to you, okay, keep adding them as I talk to you. Do you have the courage to live by these values? Right? I meet people all the time. They say, my number 1 value is my family. And I say, oh yeah? How much percentage of the week do you spend time with them? And they say, maybe like 5%. I'm like, oh, where's the other 5? Where's the other 95% going? To my work. I'm like, your family is your number 1 value, but you only spend 5% with them a week. Do you need to spend 95% of your time at career and work? No, but I'm like, okay, so your values aren't in alignment with how you're living. Okay. One of the reasons, and some of you know this, that I don't start work before 9 o'clock, right? That's why this masterclass is at 9 a.m. And I typically don't work after 5. Maybe there's a special occasion, which I will, but for the most part, I don't. And that's because one of my top values is self-love and health. So before 9 a.m., guess what I'm doing? I'm taking care of myself. I'm working out, going to the gym, praying, faith, all those things, right? Because that's a non-negotiable. That is a value. So now I want you to ask yourself, are you honoring your values? Because when you don't honor your values, you're slowly crushing your confidence because you're slowly disrespecting yourself and your needs and wants as an individual. Okay. So I want you to think about that. Are you honoring your values? And lastly, step number 3, commit to you. I once heard John Assaraf, if any of you are familiar with John Assaraf, okay? I interviewed him on a talk show a couple months ago. And he said to me and to the rest of the panel, are you interested or are you committed? There's one thing to be interested in something. Oh, I'm interested in it. I'm interested in learning a little bit more. That's a very passive statement. And it's another thing to be absolutely committed. I'm committed to me. I'm committed to my growth. Committed is associated with action. Interested is associated with passivity. Which way do you want to be when it comes to your confidence and with your growth? Look at this. The former chair and professor of the Department of Counseling for Johns Hopkins University, they did some research. They asked thousands of people. This is what they found. Confident is friendly, outgoing, happy, positive, optimistic, and motivated. So they asked people, what is confidence to you? Okay. Like when you see someone confident, what comes out of them? This is what they said. Friendly, outgoing, happy, positive, optimistic, and motivated. And then they said, okay, what's not confident to you? And the thousands of participants said withdrawn, shy, insecure, underachieving, negative, unhappy, unmotivated, right? Poor self-image. Okay. Then they did a little bit more research about confidence. They found that confident people are more resilient to emotional stress. Remember the story I told you where I lost my parents and right? We're more resilient to emotional stress, which comes from experience negative events, rejection, and failure. People that struggle with self-confidence are more sensitive towards criticism. Beep, beep, beep. Anybody that's an executive in an education corporation or anybody that's an executive in a business or corporation, period. If you have a team that you need, that you're mentoring and that you're modeling and that you're leading, listen to this. More sensitive towards criticism, more emotionally unstable. They react more negatively to failure and they have high social anxiety, and that's linked to greater unhappiness. So if any of you run a company or if you're a leader or you're an executive and you wonder why your team doesn't take feedback well, beep, 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 here's the reason. They asked, what else makes somebody confident? Confident people, they found, do not look for external self-validation. That's that micro-confidence, right? I once had somebody sit across from me and say we needed to work on her confidence. She said, Netta, do I need to work on my self-confidence? I just think I need to go back and get another PhD. She already had 2. She wanted to go get a 3rd PhD. Like, sweetheart, You don't need another PhD. You don't need more external self-validation. You need to understand how to take action, how to believe in your ability so that you can optimize everything that you've built that is technical, right? All the achievements. They don't have to, because they know exactly what their worth is. And individuals that struggle with confidence, they look for external motivation, and they're very dependent, and most times often dependent, both personally and professionally, right? So we've all seen the person that only feels great when they're with somebody, right? That only feels confident when they get a pay raise, that only feels like amazing when things are coming to them. And then when things stop, they don't know who they are. I always say, are you committed or are you just interested? Type in the chat. Are you committed or are you just interested? Just put committed, interested. Which one are you today? Which one are you today? And where are you going to be when you get out of this masterclass? I'm seeing a lot of committed. Some are interested, but I'm seeing mostly committed. All right, I like that. All right, if you're just interested, then we got some work to do, but that's all right. Are you committed or are you just interested? We're talking right now about self-confidence. There's no other topic we're talking about. Okay, so are you interested in building your self-confidence or are you just committed? All right, I always say the greatest tragedy is wasted human potential. Do not let that be your story. It does not need to be. Self-confidence is something that you can build. Self-confidence is considered a soft skill. It's considered a people skill. Okay, it's an interpersonal skill that can be built. But the challenge, again, that we're seeing in this world is so many of us spend most of our time building technical skills. We don't realize that our life, our career, our happiness, all of our fulfillment, the growth of an organization will expand and reach the utmost potential when we shift some of our energy into building the soft skills. The soft skills are what's going to be that game changer, and self-confidence is one of them. I really appreciate you joining me today. As I mentioned, if you stayed throughout the whole thing, I have a special offer with you that I want to share, okay? It's a great offer. It's something that every one of us can use. We firmly believe in it here at Rise Up For You, and this is what we do, okay? It's our Rise Up For You growth membership. Some of you that are on here are already in it, which is awesome, and we see you all the time. It's an all-in-one membership equipping you and empowering you with the skills that you need today for that confidence, for that energy, so that all the technical skills, the business, and everything that you're doing technically, you can actually optimize and push your potential and be your best. So I'd love to share with you a little bit about what you get, okay? So you get all of our courses, every course that we've ever built, you get the entire portal of courses, hundreds of videos and workbooks, okay? You get the entire confidence course. Our confidence course is about 14 videos long. You get our entire energy and public speaking course. It's all about public speaking and presence, 14 videos long. You get our entire emotional intelligence course, 14 videos. You get access to our leadership courses, which is all about women in leadership. You get access to Becoming Your Best course, which talks to you about the World Happiness Report and why so many people from around the world are struggling with happiness. And we share with you a happiness blueprint. So hundreds of videos and workbooks on demand that you can access on your own. And every month we add more and more videos. So in the next 6 months, it's probably going to be about 500-600 videos. Okay. Then you get access to monthly live trainings like this. So today I'm going live, right? But this is open to all of our community around the world. But we have special live trainings just for our members. So only if you're a member can you get in there. Okay. And we're talking about success, personal branding, leadership, motivation, 12 sessions. We do one every single month for the entire year, and you get access to those privately. Opportunity to ask questions, Q&A, and engage like we did today. On top of that, you get a personalized coaching session, just you and the coach in the room on video, where you can come in and you can say, Netta, I'm really struggling with this. And then the coach works with you one-to-one to help you be your best, and it's customizable, and we give you an action plan to go and implement, okay? All of that total together, $14.99 for the portal, $18,000 for training, $4,000 for coaching. it's typically close to $24,000 in value. Obviously, we're not going to offer it to you for that because we want you to be a part of it. So today we're giving you all of this value for just $249. One-time payment, that's it. One-time annual payment for $249. Now, if you go to the website, it's $299. So we're actually giving you an additional $50 off today. So it's $249 for the entire year. Okay. So if you're ready to actually take yourself to that next level and push yourself, then you have the next few days. Our cart closes on Sunday night. You can scan that QR code and you're going to want to put the code confidence now. Because like I said, if you go to the website, it's $299. Okay. We're slashing another $50 off for you. So you have to put in that code confidence now. The cart is open for just the next 3 days. Okay, after 3 days, it's going to go back to regular and normal price. The second you enroll, you unlock everything. So everything opens. You can watch the entire confidence course today if you want, 14 modules, and really jump in and break down perfectionist mindset, imposter syndrome, neuroscience, right? The thoughts that we have, neuroplasticity. These are all the things that we are talking about in our training. You can sign up for your coaching call with our team. So I really encourage you to take access and take part in this because, again, I'm a firm believer. You can have all the technical skills in the world, but if you don't have the self-confidence and the soft skills to take action, to pivot, and to really move forward in your potential, all that micro confidence is never going to be optimized the way that you want. And when the world is changing, you're not going to know how to change with it. Okay, I want to take an opportunity now for some of you to ask questions. We have just a few minutes left. I have an opportunity to get 1 or 2 questions from you. So go ahead. Okay, I have a question here. Is the one-on-one coaching session with Netta or other coaches? That's a great question. So we have amazing coaches. So it just depends. If your coaching is about business, like if you're, let's say you're running a business and you have a question, it's typically going to be me. If it's going to be on confidence, leadership, mindset, or anything else, it's going to be with the rest of our amazing coaching team, which are all trained by me, by the way. Every single coach and trainer we have on the team, they go through a rigorous training process with me before they can coach you. Okay, so they're all amazing and I highly believe in all of them. Great question. Thank you for that. Anybody else have a question for me? Okay, I'm going to answer it live for you. It could be anything you want. It doesn't have to be about the membership. It could be about anything. Okay, any question at all. And while you're waiting, again, I highly recommend that you jump into this membership with us so that you can access all of this content. And again, my team is continuing to add more and more content each and every time. Is the $249 charged annually? Great question. Yes, it is, Lauren. It's charged annually. So it's $249 every single year. And of course, obviously after a year, if you decide that you don't want to renew, you can make that option. But here's the beautiful part about this. If we change our price in the future, which we probably will due to demand. So if it becomes $399 a year, for example, you always stay at the $249 price. So you stay at the price that you came in on. Okay. So it's not going to go up every year. You come in at $249 and 2 years from now, if it's $500 a year, you still get the $249 price. Really good question, Lauren. Thank you. Anybody else have a question? If not, you are all amazing. Again, I really appreciate you showing up for you. Okay. What's the #1 practical advice for building in your life daily? It's going to be the 4 Bs. Yeah. I'm not going to give you an easy, like just look in the mirror and tell yourself you're amazing. It's hard, deep work. If you want to shift the belief system, the 4 Bs that I gave you earlier, keep that in your journal, write that down. And every single day, I want you to have a conversation with yourself. What is the beliefs that I have in my mind, and break them down so that you can move forward in your success. Thank you, everybody. Okay. I hope I see you in the membership, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.